Hi guys, so we have been getting a lot of questions lately regarding the differences between DirecTV and Charter Spectrum and why you would choose one for your customer over the other. So the main thing is DirecTV is available everywhere, even in rural areas because it is a satellite. While Spectrum is a cable company, they are only available in 41 states and they're not available all across those 41 states. For example, you may have a customer in a state that is covered by Spectrum and they can get service, and then there's somebody 10 miles down the road who wants service and they can't get it. So that's why it's always important to go to spectrum.com while you're on the phone with a customer. Simply type in their address and it'll tell you if they can get Spectrum in their area or not, because you don't want to waste time pitching Spectrum if it's not a service that they can get. Now, DirecTV does do a credit check. Spectrum does not do a credit check. Spectrum approves everybody. DirecTV is a 24-month contract. Spectrum is no contract. It's just month to month. Now, DirecTV does not sell internet as a standalone service, while Spectrum does sell internet as a standalone service. If somebody wants strictly internet and they're not in a Spectrum area, in order to get internet for you to be able to help them as of now, you would need to sell them at least a $35 TV package, and then they would be able to get internet for $30 a month. Now, we are a HughesNet and Exceed Internet service provider. As of right now, you guys cannot sell it, but here in about 2 or 3 months, we're looking at February of 2018, you will be able to sell both of those services. And then that way, if they're not in a Spectrum area, you'll be able to sell them strictly internet. But for now, they would have to get a TV package with DirecTV if they're not in a Spectrum area in order to get internet service through you. Now, DirecTV does not ever ask for a deposit through us. They do have to run their card for $1 before an installer come out, so they do need a credit or debit card that does have at least $1 on it, sometimes 5, so it doesn't come back as insufficient funds. But that's just secure that they're a real person, and that they really want service and they're serious about it before an installer will actually go out. And you don't get paid unless the services are installed. So it's important to make sure that you do get a credit or debit card number from the customer that has at least $1 on it. Spectrum may require the customer to pay the first month and activation fees in advance. This is all depending on if they're in an area that they've had a lot of cancellations in the past. So, for example, it could be like an apartment complex that's really low income, and Spectrum has picked up on the fact that in that particular apartment complex that they get a lot of cancellations. People aren't paying their bills. They get their first month bill and they never pay it. So it is possible. Don't be surprised if we contact you and say, hey, this customer is in a Spectrum area. We can get them hooked up, but we are going to need to run their card for, the first month's bill and activation fees and get it paid in advance. And a lot of customers, if they're serious about getting service, then they're going to pay it. They're going to go ahead and pay that first month bill in advance, and then they don't even have to, it gets it out of the way. They don't even have to worry about it. So just keep that in mind, that the Spectrum customers may have to do a first month's bill in advance. Now, DirecTV does not service apartments that have over 4 units in the building that the customer does reside in. So, of course, there could be an apartment complex that has a building that has 20 apartments in it, and then their particular building may only have 4 units in it. So just be sure to ask, hey, the building that you are in, how many units is in it? And if it's over 4, DirecTV will not be able to service them. And then Spectrum would, but you just have to make sure that Spectrum is available there in their area. And Spectrum does service all housing types. So it's hard to pick which one, is better than the other, because they both have pros and cons. So that's up to you as an agent to, kind of figure out what's best for the customer. And then sometimes it may be that they are in a Spectrum area, and they have good credit, and you just have to pick which one, or let the customer decide which one they had rather do. Now you won't know if they pass the credit check with DirecTV until after you put in the order. It usually takes about 24 hours, and then we come back and let you know. It's always good to, this is what a lot of our top agents say to the customers, is they say, hey, DirecTV does do a credit check. Your rate is subject to go up after 12 months. It's locked in for 12 months. And at the end of the 12 months, they'll do a review of your account, and they'll look at your credit. And if your credit's good and you've been paying your bill on time, then your bill more than likely will not go up. So what we'd like to do is get the name and put it in the person in the house's name that has the best credit. And so then usually they're like, oh, you know what? My husband, he has better credit than me, so let's put it in his name. Because if the customer thinks, oh, their bill might go up, if they don't have the best credit, then they're more than likely going to give you the person in the house that does have the better credit. So that kind of saves you the headache of, us letting you know that, hey, that person didn't pass a credit check, and then you have to call the customer back and then get another person's name. Another good thing is go ahead and see if you can get at least two people's information in that house. Say, hey, in the unfortunate event that we can't approve you, is there somebody else in the house that we can run their information in, as well as a backup? And then you'll just need to get that person's name, as well as get their first and last name, as well as their social security number. And then hopefully out of the two people that you put down, hopefully at least one of them will qualify for DirecTV service. So I hope this helps you guys out. If you have any questions, please reach out to us and let us know, and we'll be happy to help you.